6 months after I came to the United States, I received that phone call that nobody really wants to receive. And I was told that my mother had passed away.
I am so sorry.
Yeah. And my mother was the one who was paying for my tuition.
Oh,
And
no.
I was an F1 student at that point. And I remember completely going into shock.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Conversational Lounge with Trudy. Here we aim to mentor, connect, and inspire others through real life stories. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Walk us through your journey.
Yes, my name is Elsie and I live here in the United States. I am originally from Kenya and very happy to be part of this conversation today.
Nice. When did you move here?
I moved to the United States in 2006. That was a few years after I graduated from the University of Nairobi with a bachelor's in education and started my journey as a school teacher. Taught for a few years, then decided to come to the University of Indianapolis to pursue a master's in business administration.
Look at you. This is the part that I enjoy the most.
Yes.
Is hearing people's first experiences when they land in this country, because usually people have different experiences.
Yeah, so it was in April, so we were end of spring, sometime in spring, so not too hot, not too cold, perfect weather. When I arrived, I was picked up by a family that I knew very well, that were my mentors and my host family for the summertime before school started in the fall. So it was good all round. First experience in the US is very interesting. As you know, everybody drives on the wrong side of the road.
Yep, that's a big one.
You're like, why is everybody driving on the right? We are used to people driving on the left in Kenya. My first drink was Dr. Pepper.
Oh, we don't even have a Dr. Pepper in Kenya.
Don't ask me why. But I remember after being picked up from the airport, we went to the gas station. And as we were pumping gas, we went inside and I was asked to pick out a drink. In Kenya, I was used to either Fanta, Crest, Coca-Cola, just the mainstream Coca-Cola products. But coming here, there's so much variety.
Yes, so the Dr. Pepper. So you just saw, oh my gosh, so many pop varieties. So you just picked Dr. Pepper?
Yeah.
Because of the name, or?
I was like, who would put pepper in a drink? I want to know.
Which doctor is this?
Which doctor is this? But found out that was not the case. I think that was the only time I drank Dr. Pepper.
You acclimated, obviously.
Yes.
But then how was your first winter?
Winter is a whole different animal. Yeah. When you watch winter on TV, especially when you're back home in Kenya, you see everybody dressed in Christmas sweaters. They're by the fireplace. In the movies, everybody's sipping hot cocoa and they're singing Christmas carols, and it sounds like fun. But nobody really talks to you about that you have to drive on it, and you have to clean your car, and the sleet and the black ice and the whole nasty experience of driving.
So you got here, culture shock, started getting acclimated to the environment, the new accents. And then, so when did you decide, okay, now I got to find a job and I want to start living this American dream?
Yes, so 2 years for masters at the University of Indianapolis. And I just want to mention that my journey at the University of Indianapolis was not a bed of roses at all, because 6 months after I came to the United States, I received that phone call that nobody really wants to receive. And I was told that my mother had passed away.
I am so sorry.
Yeah. And my mother was the one who was paying for my tuition.
Oh, no.
And I was an F1 student at that point. And I remember completely going into shock. First of all, that I had lost my mother, who I truly, truly and dearly loved. And it was sudden, unexpected. And I was lucky that my friends actually raised funds, and I was able to travel home and be with my family and pay my respects and accord her the funeral and have that closure. But coming back to school, tuition is due. Nobody really cares from the finance department. You are an F1 student. You don't qualify for any FAFSA, which is the loans equivalent of HELB in Kenya. It was a very difficult time. I remember going to every single financial assistant office in school and asking for any kind of help. And eventually they told me there's nothing they could do for me. And after my mom died without a will, so all her properties and her bank accounts were frozen, pending going through the succession process. And the Office of International Affairs told me, you have no choice but to go back to Kenya.
Oh my goodness. Wow, I am so sorry. What? Just the whole timing of it, just the whole losing someone that you love and care about so deeply. Wow, Elsie, I didn't even know that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was one of the most challenging times, and I think that is what really gave me the tenacity to go through it gave me a different perspective of the United States and how your life can change in an instant and how to be very tenacious and knock on every door and seek every opportunity and not take a no for an answer. Because once they had told me that there's really nothing you can do for you, you need to go back to Kenya if you cannot raise the tuition, I decided to pursue two paths. One is to petition the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services for work permit based on hardship. So to get a permission to work off campus based on hardship. And the hardship was that my mother had passed away and to be allowed 20 hours a week to work off campus. And the second route that I followed is I wrote to the president of the university to tell her what I was going through and how much I loved going to school and how I cannot afford to pay my tuition and how I really wanted to complete my studies and not go back to Kenya without my MBA. And I was very surprised to hear back from her within a few days of writing to her.
Wow.
And she told me of something they were piloting that nobody had told me about. And they were piloting student loan that they would guarantee through Sallie Mae on behalf of international students, because international students would not qualify for that. So it's something that was very new and they were piloting and nobody had told me about that. So she sent me to the vice president for financial services and they helped me apply and I qualified for tuition that would pay for my tuition for the rest of my time there in school.
Wow.
Yes.
And that's just by you utilizing your resources and being bold enough to reach out and really be vulnerable and put yourself out there and see what's available.
Yes.
Kudos to you.
Yes, I'm hoping that story would really encourage somebody, especially students who are going through financial hardships, that you would knock on so many doors and people will tell you no. But don't give up. If I had given up and bought a one-way ticket back to Kenya, I would not be here right now and I would not have accomplished what I have accomplished. Because I feel that my life has been better by me making that choice to stay in school, graduate, and stay in the United States. Yeah. And then also my employment application was approved as well.
Double blessings.
Double blessings.
Amen.
Yeah. So I got 20 hours a week to work off campus. So that income also sustained me to be able to pay for other things that the student loan would not pay for.
Wow. So how was life really, working only 20 hours a week and then going to school full time? Like, how did you manage?
You just have to muscle all the strength that you have and find time in between work to do your assignments and try and make the best use of your time in class. That is when the time management skill comes to play, because you have to budget time for sleep, time to eat, time to work, time for assignments, time to meet with team members and do your team assignments, and time for everything. I looked at it this way. I have been given a chance that nobody else has been given. And I really did not want to let down the university president who gave me this opportunity and the university that guaranteed my student loan. And I did not want to be a failure, and because they were piloting it through me, I did not want them to say, okay, that did not work out, we should not sponsor any more international students. I want to be a shining success so that they have the motivation to sponsor more international students, because I knew I was not the only one struggling, because there's a very different perception of life in America before you come to America and the reality on the ground. I think when you arrive in America, a lot of things that you think or thought you find that are completely different. And I say that being an F1 international student comes with its own set of challenges that are very unique, and especially if you do not have scholarship, which I did not have scholarship. I did not have grants. I did not have anything. I was straight up paying out of pocket.
Walk me through your next phase.
So after that, I was lucky to get OPT, which is optional practical training at Indiana University, and also very lucky to find it within a program that is within the IU Center for Global Health. Indiana University has a very long-standing partnership with Moi University in Kenya.
Oh,
yeah.
I had no idea.
Yes, through the Empath program. And it has been a 20-year plus partnership of mentoring global health leaders. So students from Indiana University go to Moi University and MTRH, Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, for a rotational basis to train and to do their practicum. And students from Moi University also come to Indiana University to visit and also do some training. So it has been a long-standing partnership.
How would someone qualify for that program?
You have to be enrolled at either Indiana University School of Medicine or at Moi University School of Medicine. And then there are specific classes that you have to take. And that class would have a practicum either at Indiana University or at Moi University.
What kind of experience did you learn from that?
I learned a lot. I learned a lot about global health. I interacted a lot with researchers, with visiting scholars, and something that I forgot to mention when I was at University of Indianapolis doing my master's, I became interested in research. And I remember for my finals, I was given an option to either sit for finals or to write a paper that I would present in Ghana.
Ghana? I want to hear more. I want to hear more of this story.
Yeah. So I chose a paper on women in leadership in sub-Saharan Africa, and co-authored it with one of my classmates and my teacher, Dr. Miller. And it was an overview. We wrote it. It got published.
Nice.
Yeah. And went to Ghana to make the presentation. That was an awesome trip. And my first visit to Ghana.
Where in Ghana were you doing this presentation? Is it an arena? Like, is it a school? How grand are we talking?
It was a conference that brought together various professors and researchers from different parts of the world. And I
Wow.
remember I was sitting next to a lady who is from Massachusetts. She teaches at Boston College. And then also a gentleman that was a professor in Australia. So it was very global. It was in a conference center in Accra, Ghana.
Wow.
So,
how long were you in Ghana?
about 8 days. After the conference, we got to travel to rural Ghana and visit the villages. And, the set books that we read.
Yes. Did you eat the fufu, the yams?
Of course we did.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was like reliving that again.
Yes.
It was interesting because before we went into any of the villages, we had to go get the blessing from the chief.
What?
Yeah.
From village to village, you have to be blessed to cross to the next village.
No, we were going to one specific village and we had to get the permission or blessing from the chief to go into the village and talk to the people. And we brought, of course, our special drink from America.
Which special drink?
I don't remember, but I know he was happy with it.
That is good.
But it was fun. I loved that I had that experience. And again, I got that experience because of the connection that I had with the college professors and how I had expressed my passion about women leadership in Africa and how we could grow that aspect of it. So when this opportunity came about, my professor became aware of it. He called me to his office and said, hey, there's this conference that is going to happen in Accra, Ghana, about women leadership in Sub-Saharan Africa. Are you interested in going? And in lieu of you taking your finals, I'm willing to allow you to write the paper and I will help co-author it and you'll get full credit for your finals. And then you can go to the conference. So, and so again, making those connections when you're in college, like talking to your professors about your passions and your interests and really what gets you going. Because you really don't know what they have in their bags of tricks. Yeah.
And I tend to find that with our culture, with our upbringing, we're more private. We feel like we just want to keep things to ourselves. So kudos to you for stepping out of that and actually just raising your hand and just speaking like, I'm interested in this or I need help here.
Yeah.
That is a bold move.
It is a bold move. And I do give also credit to people who see things in us that sometimes we are afraid to project. In my life and in my career, I have had people who have come to me and said, hey, Elsie, I really think you'll be really good at this. I see this in you. And sometimes maybe you don't see that in yourself.
I understand at some point you decided to move back to Kenya. What was the driving force behind that?
Yes, at some point in around 2012, I was starting to feel homesick. And I was lucky because I moved back to Kenya with a full-time paying job sponsored by my employer, Indiana University, at that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were paid from the US, but you're living in Kenya?
Yes.
How was that?
Again, connections. Someone called me about a week after I had lunch with them and said, hey, we received this grant from Susan G. Komen, and we are going to do a project in Kenya. It is a 1 year to 2 year project. It will not go past 2 years. It is one-time funded. We cannot guarantee you employment past 2 years. And I was like, I'll take it. I was like, Elsie, you really need to understand it is a short-term thing. We cannot extend it. I was like, oh, that's perfect. I'll take it.
How do you handle change?
It depends what kind of change. Change is hard for everybody. But I feel also that change, if you're open to change, you discover a certain aspect of yourself. And I feel that if you're very close-minded to change, you close out some blessings. Yeah.
So just in case someone's watching and they're not familiar with the organization, what they do, can you just tell us a little bit of what they do or what you were doing?
Yeah. The more interesting thing is what I was doing in Kenya, which was breast cancer education, and that was an eye opener for me. So a big eye opener for me when I went back to Kenya, and we did breast cancer education and training, and the things that I heard, because we didn't do it only in the urban areas, we also went to the rural areas, like the real deep rural areas.
Wow.
And I feel, from my experience doing that research project, what is killing our people is lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge and misinformation, disinformation, believing in, for example, that breast cancer is caused by witchcraft. I would hear things that would shock me. And I would go home and tell my sister, I think we live a very sheltered life, because I heard things that I never knew existed. So I am very grateful that my parents chose the path that they chose for me, which is the path of education and giving me the knowledge that I needed to survive this world. And I hope that, and that really ignited a passion in me, is like, how do I make a difference, and how do I really need a purpose in my life. I just don't want to be on this earth and not have a purpose. And my purpose to help people. I just want to be passionate about helping people and just making this world a better place, educating, informing people, and just creating that, removing that gap between those who know and those who don't know, and just removing the gap. So that experience made me, when I chose to return back to the US, after I felt that I had really soaked in the African sun and ate all the vegetables I could eat, the fresh food, and visited every family member that I could visit. And I felt now it was time to go back. And I chose to return to the United States. I felt called into the nonprofit world.
Wow.
Yeah.
A change in direction.
I did a change in direction and decided to go into nonprofit world and do purposeful work that helps people.
Wow. Now that right there is truly inspirational. You took your trip to Kenya, you did all that research, you identified a gap, but then you come here and you decide, this is what I want to do.
I came back and decided to serve the refugee and immigrant community. Des Moines has a long history of welcoming refugees and immigrants, starting with the Thai Dam community in the 70s. And there are many refugees that have been resettled in Des Moines area, and many other refugees that and immigrants that live here as well. So it's a very welcoming community. I worked mostly with Congolese refugees because they speak Swahili, I speak Swahili. I also worked with other refugees through translators. That was a very purposeful work that I really enjoyed. I was a big advocate for self-sufficiency, being independent, and being able to do things on your own. Rather than me driving you everywhere, I will teach you how to get there by yourself.
I like that.
I will ride that bus with you until you know the routes. I will download that Uber app for you if you feel that is the route you want to go. I will enroll you in driver's ed classes if you feel that is the route you need to go. So I just feel that being independent is the best way to move forward. I would really teach and emphasize on self-advocacy.
So you're still in the nonprofit world as we speak now?
Yes, my boss walks up to me and says, hey, my family and I are moving. I think you should apply to be the program director or the program manager. I think you'll be really great for this position. We see a lot of, those gifted skills in you and all of this. I say, just sit down with me and explain to me exactly what you do on a day-to-day basis. And she says, I'll train you, I'll help you and all of that. And, I ended up applying for the position and actually got selected to be, among other applicants, got selected to be the next program manager.
Nice. See, they saw potential in
They saw
you.
potential in me. And that is what I say. I truly, truly appreciate people who see things in us that either we don't have enough faith in ourselves to see in ourselves, or we don't feel ready to jump into the deep end of the pool, say, maybe I need more time. Because I truly valued that experience. It was a time that it was an opportunity that really moved me into management. And I have now changed a role. I've now changed jobs, but I'm still in management position. And that experience that I originally got, and that manager that saw that in me originally and said, "Hey, you would be good at this. We see this in you." That really helped get me to where I am. So I truly appreciate people who motivate us and help us get to where we are.
And see, and to me, I think that's truly a definition of a good leader, because they're not only there to supervise your work, but they're also there to see what you're good at and to give you that little boost to where you need to be without seeing competition.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to work with someone like that.
Yeah, and they end up being your mentor, Yeah, they end up being your mentor. And I remember years later, she came back to me and said, "Hey, Elsie, I'm applying for this job. Would you recommend me to it?"
Of course I would.
Of course I would. What are you talking about?
Highly recommended.
Highly recommended. And it was not just a simple yes. It was like I had to go in and do like a 30 minutes worth of entering things in, and I gladly did it because I knew that she did something for me and really gave me the faith and the hope and the courage and also that boost that I needed to see what she saw in me. Yeah.
Is there anything that you'd like us to touch on that maybe we didn't branch into today?
Yeah. Maybe I'll just highlight a program that I went through that really, really helped open my eyes to the importance of giving back and taking up leadership positions within the community. We are immigrants and we have moved for me, I came from Kenya and now live in the United States. And United States is now home. We still have a home in Kenya, but the US is now home. And United States being home, we really need to, and I feel very strongly that we need to participate in things that build our community. And those include things like voting. It's very important that we be part of boards. I'm very proud of when I see other Africans that are joining school boards. Like I see Amel is running for Waki School Board. In 2020, I was selected to be part of the Greater Des Moines Leadership Institute leadership program for a class of 2020. There was 50 of us that were selected, and I was one of them. Which was
that's a big deal.
It was a big
50
deal.
in the entire state?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a 9-month leadership program, and we explored various curriculum. And what this program does is building leaders who will take up issues that are important for our communities. So I would encourage anybody who is interested, just go on their website and apply. Everybody is a professional, but have this passion about helping the community and being part of the community and making a difference in the community, taking up leadership positions either in the school board, in local nonprofits, being part of the board, and just making a difference by serving and advocacy and just giving time to volunteer and make a difference in the community. That really ignited a passion in me, and being able to give back to the community. And right now I'm part of 3 boards. I would encourage my fellow immigrants that this is our home now. Let us volunteer our time, let us volunteer our resources, and join the school board if you can, be part of the policy making. Don't let people make decisions for you, be at the table, get a seat at the table, make these decisions, show up at the city hall meetings, show up at your neighborhood association meetings, take up all those leadership roles, be part of the PTA, vote. I cannot overemphasize that. It's very, very important. It takes people. There are people who really would want to vote, but they cannot for obvious reasons. So I would just say that, and just give a big shout out to those who have really invested their time and effort to support the nonprofits and who are making a difference in the community.
Wow, Elsie.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I looked through her bio and I was wowed by everything that she's doing in the community. She's passionate about educating, uplifting, and just giving back, selflessly giving back to the community. We need more people like that. What would you like to be known for?
I would like to be a change maker and give others opportunity. I really believe that God put us in this world for a reason. And God put me in this world for a reason. I don't believe that our existence is a coincidence. And I know that my passion is to make a difference. I may not have the financial resources per se to build 100 homes for the homeless, but I could do something else by advocating for policy changes that could make housing more affordable for people, for example. So I just want to use my time, to use my voice, to use my energy to just make a difference in this world.
Any parting shots today?
Yes, I would say that, for those who are going through difficulties, I would like to encourage you and say that there's always a way out. Keep knocking on doors, keep talking to people, keep seeking advice. Someone knows something. So just have that tenacity and reach out to somebody. Someone always knows something. Take time to reach out to somebody. For those who are trying to find their passion, as I said, it will come to you. Just embrace it. Don't be afraid. Just run with it and just do good in this world.
Elsie, thank you so much for being a part of our show today and sharing your story. I appreciate you being able to be vulnerable and open up and share your experiences. It's not every day that we get to hear real life stories from real people. We hear bits and pieces of their success stories, but we really don't always get the chance to hear the whole journey. I just think that's very selfless and it's very inspirational. So for anyone back home that's watching this and maybe you're going through tough times right now, I know Elsie's story, she went through tough times at the beginning, but through persistence, through resilience, and just following through and raising her hand and reaching out, she was able to sit where she is right now. If you're interested in maybe giving back to the community and you don't know how, just do a Google search and see what's available in your local area and start small. Just, you don't have to be rich to do stuff like that, but you can start by just giving your time or even advice or even sharing your story. That is actually one of the greatest ways to give back to your community. Thank you so much for being with us today. See you again on our next video and have a wonderful day.